Hi, my name is Terry Sproul, and I want to welcome you to my studio. Tonight is our Tuesday night live class where we talk about art journal techniques. Tonight I'm going to talk all about pastels. I hope to teach you a lot about different pastels and why there are different pastels and what to do with them. We are going to do an art journal page, and I'm also going to show you some other things that I've done recently with pastels and acrylics. So even though we're going to work strictly with pastels tonight, you can really use a lot of you can use pastels over top of acrylics or watercolors or other mediums, even though we're going to use strictly pastels tonight. Okay, there is a ton of you here tonight. Thank you very much. That's my blog right down there. Tomorrow I will have links to all the products that I used tonight on my blog. If you do have a question, if you can put your question in the chat room in bold, I always say bold. I mean caps. I don't know why I do that. I'll do my best to catch it, but I do have Joe Rotella here with me also trying to catch those questions. And you guys are actually really good at catching the questions and answering them yourself, so I appreciate that. Okay, I am going to switch cameras and get going. I'm going to take my logo down real quick, so hold on here. Yep. Oh, I gotta largen the screen here so I can move it off. There we go. Okay, I'm going to switch cameras and we're going to get going about pastels. Okay. As you see right off the bat, these upside down, sorry about that. I have been playing a lot with pastels this week. This obviously, everything I'm going to show you took me a lot longer than we have in an hour to do. But this right here is a beautiful owl that I just did, and this is done with pastels and acrylics. And you can see all the detail that pastels will come out in, and this is really cool. Next week I am going to teach you the technique that kind of goes along with this, that you need charcoal. So if you play along with me, get some charcoal and get a kneading eraser. Okay, those are the two things that I'm going to show you next week. That is a really cool technique. So that's kind of how I did this one. I'm going to show you a little more. Over the weekend, I took a PanPastel class. This is all PanPastels, and honest to God, guys, this is my very first landscape. I have never done a landscape before, let alone do a landscape with nothing but PanPastels. And we're going to talk a lot about PanPastels tonight. But these are what PanPastels are. They come in this little pan, that's why they're called PanPastels. And we'll talk more about them. But this whole painting is done with PanPastels. Okay, one more show and tell, and then we'll get into work. This is my very first animal ever. And it's also done with acrylics, and it has some soft pastels in it. So again, next week I'm going to do a class where we're going to talk about pastels and acrylic paints, and I'll actually give you a sneak peek of what we're going to do. We're going to do something like that. Okay, so PanPastels are really awesome. You can get them, they are not at Michael's. Okay, that's the one bad thing. You can get them directly at Dick Flicks, which is dickflicks.com. You can get them directly at PanPastels. Thank you. I'm really pretty proud of that owl myself, to be honest. You can get them at PanPastels themselves, or a lot of art stores have them. Not so much. Actually, some stamp stores actually have them too. But we're going to talk more about them. So actually, before I pull this out, let me go into PanPastels and the different ones that are out there. Okay, PanPastels come in 84 colors. A lot of colors. They blend really nicely. You can buy them individually, like this. You can buy them in a stack, which usually comes with 5 in a stack, and they stack on top of each other really well. You just screw them together. You can buy them in a tray of 10, like this, or they have them in a tray, I think, of 20 also. I have approximately 34 of these colors right now. If you were going to start off buying pastels, PanPastels, buy the basic set would probably be the one that I would suggest. Now let me talk a little bit about PanPastels. PanPastels, they're called PanPastels because they come in this pan. They're extremely soft. They have very little chalk. They give a chalk-like look to them, but they have very little dust. So that's what's really nice about these PanPastels. And they blend beautifully. Okay? The other type of pastels that are out there are something called soft pastels. This is, I got this at Michael's. This is their Artist Loft, which is the Michael's brand. I think this only cost me like $7. It has 36 colors in it. And these kind of remind me of like a chalk that we used as a child. It has that same feel in your hand. It gives the same look on your paper. It has that really soft feel to it. And they come in these sticks. You can use these sticks in a couple ways. You can actually take a paintbrush and go right along the, go right above it, pull some paint up and use it. Honestly, I pick them up and use them as a stick. And I will show you more of that. Okay, and then there's one other type of pastels, and I don't have a lot of these yet. I plan on getting a few more. I have the basics, the ones that are important. And they're called, they're pencil pastels. These actually are from Faber-Castell, and I have the black, the white, and the brown. And these three, if I told you to buy 3 colors, these are the 3 colors I would suggest you buy. And again, these have that really grittiness to them. They act like chalk, a lot like chalk that we used as kids. Another thing about PanPastels is they are an artist grade pastels, which means they're highly pigmented. So you need very little of them. And when you work with PanPastels, you use these sponges that I'm pulling out here to actually do your work. So you have all these different types of sponges that you can purchase, and they come in, like this is a really cool, this is called a soft tool. It's a knife, they call this a knife, and it comes with a bunch of heads and a couple different shapes of the sponges. And the sponges shapes will help you make, you know, scenery like I did here with actually making the trees and everything. Each of, you know, you actually go in there and draw with these tools that they give you, or that you buy with them. Now, these tools can be used over and over and over and over, so they don't really go bad. I think the only ones I've ever had go bad are these little tips, because the tips do eventually go bad, but you can wash them out and get the color out of them. So you do get a pretty good value depending on how much you use them. Okay, so I gave you a little bit of basic.
Terry, if I can interrupt, Dawn, I think, Miss Dee Dee Jha, you've been asking over and over, are these the same as soft pastels? If you keep an eye on the comments, I gave you the difference between PanPastels, soft pastels, and pencil pastels, and I put a link for each one.
Yep.
So they are all different. All the links are there, and how each one is slightly different than the other is also all in the comments.
And I am actually going to explain that because I'm going to work with all 3 of them tonight. These are actually what they call soft pastels. Okay? These are the ones that are in the, like the chalk. These are the PanPastels. The PanPastels are definitely more soft, they're more silky, and they don't have as much chalk or residue left over while using them. Okay, now the very first thing you need to do when you work with pastels is you have to have what they call tooth. That's that fancy word again in the artist world. What does that mean? That means that your paper has to have some grit to it. So my book, my journal, is very smooth paper, so I need to do something on top of my paper to make it have some tooth. There's two products that you can purchase. One of them I do not have in my studio, and it's from Golden or Liquitex, and it's called Ground for Pastels. And basically it's a something that you can put down on your piece of paper, and it's going to give it tooth. I don't know if you can feel or see this. You probably can't see any tooth, but you can actually, it sounds like nut down there. Now, since I didn't have that ground in my studio, something else that will work just as well that I do have in my studio is something called clear gesso. We've talked about gesso. Gesso is a primer, it's a base. The one thing about the clear gesso, though, is it has tooth. So it allows you to put something down, put the clear gesso over top of it, and still have tooth. So I painted my background prior to you guys getting in here with some clear gesso. Just a nice thin coat over the whole background. Okay, so now I have tooth, and now my pastels will grab onto the piece of paper. If you do not use something that has tooth in it, your pastels literally just fall right off almost, because they have nothing to grab onto. Real quickly before I start, I want to show you. This is another page that I did that's done with the soft pastels. So having a black background, the pastels just jump off the page, as you see, and look how nicely you can blend. See how pretty that is? And we're going to talk about all this tonight. Okay, so I wanted to show you that before I started on my piece of paper and couldn't change back over to it. Okay, so we're going to play with the pastels tonight, or all of them. Let me grab the colors I want. So I'm going to work with these PanPastels first. And I've actually used this template before. This is a, when you get Stampotiques stamps, you get like this particular stamp. I think this is called Bloom Girl. I could be wrong. Let me see if it says it on here.
I think it's the Cling. I think it's the Cling Blossom Beauty.
Blossom Beauty, thank you. Blossom Beauty. But it comes with this stamp, and they all come with a stencil. See that? Or a mask. So I'm going to use that mask tonight to start my pastels. Actually, first off, I want to put some color in the background, so let me start there. I'm going to use, oh, the other thing that's really cool about pastels is they're completely erasable. So if you don't like what you do, you can take an eraser and erase it. Okay, so that's really cool. Let me grab, trying to find. Now I try to keep my my sponges by color. So this was the one I was using earlier with my gray, so I'm going to use that. So I'm going to start off. I'm going to bring these over here. And I'm going to take this sponge, and you're going to see how little you need. I just take 1, 2, 3 swipes of the pastels, and I have it on my sponge now. And I can go directly onto my sheet, and it'll start making this beautiful color for me. So I'm going to put the pastels to the side so you don't need to watch me keep swiping. So I basically just put color on until it kind of runs out, and then I will reload. So I'm just going to get some basic background on here. I'm using the PanPastels at this point. All of these are recorded, so if you did miss something, so you came in a few minutes late, you can go back and watch the recording on my YouTube channel. While you're over there, I would love it if you would put in a thumbs up for me. Okay. Okay, so I just put a little bit around the edge. I want to come in with another color here. There it is. I'm going to take this. Another thing that's really nice about these PanPastels is they blend really nicely. So I'm grabbing a really soft blue right there, that soft blue, and I'm just going to add just a little bit to soften this up, this gray up, because I want to have just a little bit of excitement around the edge. Okay, now I want to grab this one again. This color I'm going to use here in a second. The gray is actually out of the metallic palette, and this copper that I'm about ready to use right there is also out of the metallic palette. So I'm putting the stencil down, so you could definitely go through stencils with this. Again, a couple swipes on my sponge, and I'm going right around the edge here and getting this stencil done. And you can tape down your stencil if you want to. I usually don't. Now I want to go in with this really hot pink. See that pretty pink right there? I'm going in with that now.
And Terry, there's a question if the stencil or the stamp you used for Blossom Beauty, did it come with the stencil of the face, or is that a separate product? Looking at Blossom Beauty, I just see the cling. I don't see the stencil that accompanies it.
The stencil comes with it. It is part of the kit. It comes with it. Okay. Now I did just kind of mess up here just a little bit, so I'm going to go in with the eraser and just erase this out just a little bit, because I actually want it to do something else. So see how nicely that'll erase right out for me? If I don't like it, I can usually take it back down to the page. See that? So you can, if you don't like something, you can actually erase it. Because I meant, got sidetracked, to take, now this is the other cool thing that's really cool about these PanPastels, or any pastels, but PanPastels work the best. You can take your Versamark stamp pad, ink up your stamp, and I'm going to do my best to stamp this upside down. No, I'm not even going to try it. Sorry guys, going my way. I can barely stamp. Ah! I'm going to stamp her on. Now I can take the PanPastels again, and it will pick up all of that Versamark. See that? Let me go back toward you so you can see that. See how it's picking up all the Versamark? So everywhere that I had the stamped image, it is now picking that up. And you can really blend it out if it's too bright in a spot. You can just keep rubbing on it and it'll blend it out some, except for where the ink caught the pastels. See that? Isn't that pretty? For one eye, doesn't it?
And as a reminder, all the links for these products are in the comments, so you might want to scroll back if you're not watching them as they go by. Terry will also post them tomorrow on her Facebook page and her blog. So if you miss a link, check earlier in the comments, and then tomorrow it'll be on Facebook and on the blog.
Okay, so at this point, now I can go in with either my pastel pencil, or I can go in with my soft pastels. So I'm actually going to go in right off the bat. I really can't draw upside down. Sorry guys, I got to do this face towards me. And I'm going to go right around her eyelashes with this. Oh, The one bad thing about pastel pencils is they constantly need to be sharpened. I should have done this off camera, but I didn't. I'm going to do her eyelashes real quickly. I'm going to do her pupil. Okay. So I'm just doing her eyelashes with the pencil. And her pupil. Now I'm going to go in with the soft pastels. Remember these? And I'm going to do her lips. So you can get really tight, or you can do big sections. And I'm going to show you big sections here in a little bit. But let me just use the corner here and do her lip. So she's getting some lipstick put on her. Okay, see how I'm having to blow them? Where the PanPastels didn't have that effect, these you constantly seem to have to blow a little to get the extra chalk off. Now I'm going in with blue, and I'm going to do her eye. She could have any color eye you want it. See that? Look at that already. Isn't that awesome? Already looking cool. Okay. Now I get to have fun. I can do her hair anything I want. So I can start taking these, chalk pastels, and I'm going to do purple because I'm trying to get brave. I want to dye my hair for the first time ever in my life, and I want to do it purple. So I'm just going to do some hair right here. So, and then what's cool is you can go in with multiple colors. You don't have to just do one pastel. But you can go in right along the top here. I want to do some a little darker around her edge. See how you can instantly get some depth with just doing some scribbling. And it's fun to play with these things. They're just fun. So yeah, I'm trying to get brave and do color my hair purple. You can also take, because I can do work on that. You can take these things and work from the side too. So I can put the whole chalk down and get color in there also. See that? See how you can get a lot of color in there really easily from going to the side, or you can do streaks. It's all up to you.
And one tip, Terry, a lot of folks find they have to work from the top down, only because if you start at the bottom and work your way up, you're likely to put your elbows, your arms on the pastel, and you'll lift it right onto your skin. You look like a Smurf. So
yes, that is true. I will definitely be colored before the end of this end of the show. Now, he just brought up a good point that I will be bringing into the conversation a little later. Pastels don't really seal themselves. So the advantage to that at this point is I can blend. I can blend with my finger. See that? And get more of a blending color instead of so many streaks. Okay, with just taking my finger down that one side, see that? Of course, I'm going to do that on the other side because it would look funny without doing that. And you can come in and say, I got too much of the blue is gone or something. You can come in and put that layer in there again. You know, there's nothing saying you can't come back in and put some more streaks back in after you blended it out. Okay, we got a couple more of those in there.
Terry Rayanne Waxman says use hair chalk first.
Hair chalk first. Oh, that's a
Hair
good
chalk.
idea.
I never heard of hair chalk.
Hair chalk is, it's funny, something like you were just talking about a few minutes ago. You were saying, why can't you test out the color on your hair? They do make hair chalk that you can put in your hair, but my hair being so dark, it won't work for me on my hair. But I get it. Okay, now I have a really cool quote, and I want to put in a flower. So where is my quote? Where is my quote? Oh, there it is. So I want to make sure I have room for that. So if I put that there, okay. I am going to, again, you can draw with these things. These are super fun to draw with. So I can just go in and work on putting a flower in. And what's cool about these is, like I was saying, they blend. So I can come in with multiple colors and get a lot of depth in my stem and everything because these blend out so well. You can come in with a darker green and get some shadows in there, like say the inside might be a little darker. See that? Again, if you don't like something, you don't like the color you just put in, you think it's too dark, you can erase part of it, you can erase all of it. See that? Again, you got to blow it away. That's the only bad part about it. So I'm just going to do a simple 5-petal flower. Nothing fancy. But watch this. This is how cool these pastels are. Because, nothing fancy, you can do a lot of blending. So say I'm just going to put this purple in, which is what I started with. Now I want you to see before I blow this off. Look at all this chalk. See all the dust? I don't know why that just gave us lines like that, but see all that dust? That's the stuff you got to constantly be blowing off. Now I can come in with the darker purple and come right around one edge and blend it out and give me depth into that flower. So that flower looks like it has depth now and not just a flat flower, all one color. So again, lots. See, the PanPastels would not do that. Would not give me all that chalk that's coming off here. Only these soft pastels do that. So there's a ton of chalk right there that I have to blow off. See it all? I just blew it off. Okay, so now I'm going to come in with that darker color and go right along the edge and make that stand out a little bit more. See that? See how this gives you really cool blending, and it gives you the ability to make really nice art really quickly. See how beautiful that flower is in no time at all? I know, I really like the way it blends too. That's my favorite part about these pastels. And then, you can even come in with really, let's go with this one. So you can even, have multiple colors of blending in your flower because it's your flower. You can do that. So look at that. Look how cool that flower looks already. Make my stem just a little bit wider. Make sure you go off. Sorry, I was off. Make sure you take your projects off the page too. Your flowers, whatever you're using. So I like that already. I think that turned out really nice, really quickly. Look at the results I got in no time at all. I do want to put some more color back here, so I'm going to use the PanPastels, I think. Oh, let's use this bright yellow. I'll show you how these little knives, as they call them, work. Again, just a few swipes on my thing, and I can go directly in and put some color right on the background. Now I'm going to show you the difference. I'm going to put a lot of pigment right there. Now watch, you're not going to see any chalk residue at all. See? I don't know why that keeps doing that, but no chalk residue. That's the advantage of these PanPastels over the other pastels. You don't get that. Yeah, great class tonight. Thank you, guys. Yes, there's over 40 people in the room. I'm so excited. So see how these pastels, the difference where you're not going to get that that chalkiness. So they're really, really soft. The only reason I'm blowing is because my sponge is actually going bad, not that my pastels have chalkiness to them. That blow was strictly because of the I had. Now, since I'm coming up in here in the blue, it's blending with the blue because there is no sealant on that. Say you wanted to put color on top of color and you didn't want it to blend, you need to seal in between that. You could use a workable fixative, but I would probably actually use try to use clear gesso again. Okay, I like that. Okay, we need a quote. We need a quote. I got this beautiful quote again from Versus Rubber Stamps.
And Terry, when you seal, just a word to the wise, caution. If you seal with something like a clear gesso or a liquid, even perfect paper adhesive, if you pull that across that with a brush, you're going to start blending and moving colors around because these things are going to get activated by the liquid. So if you just want it to stay exactly the way it is, you might find a spray fixative or a spray clear acrylic more to your liking.
I agree with that. And also on that same note, when I do spray these, I use a clear finish spray. I do a really, really light coat the first time, you know, really light spray so it doesn't move anything. And then I'll let that dry and I'll go back in and put another spray on it. And then I'll take my finger and I'll go in someplace that's really heavy in color and I'll see if it's lifting. If it's lifting still, then I'll go in with a third spray. Usually 2 sprays has done it pretty good for me, to be honest. Okay, my quote. I'm going to use Indian ink tonight. Making sure my quote still fits in my spot I left it. Yep. Now, I got a little bit of a problem because I'm right at the end of the book. And I need to make sure this stays really flat. So I'm going to prop my book up here a little so I get a nice flat. Maybe prop my book up here a little so I get a nice flat. So I apologize about the view here for a second. I need to make sure I get a nice flat area so I get a nice good stamp. And I will read this to you here in a minute. Again, this is from Versus Rubber Stamp. Yes, you can use hairspray. The downfall about using hairspray, though, is hairspray does yellow over time. If you don't care about that, then go for it. If you care about that, then go ahead and purchase yourself a nice, good finishing spray. And you can buy them at Michael's, and you can use your 40% off coupon to get them. So, you know, and they do pretty much last a long time. I'm going to give you a tip here in a second, too, on how to get your sprays to last a long time. Okay, that's perfect. When you spray with your spray, it always gets this like gunk on it. See that? Let me see. Focus. There's like leftover spray almost on it. I always go in and peel that off every time I use it. And I try, I'm not saying I'm very good about this, I try to clean it right after I spray also. That helps also. Okay. Tonight's quote is from Verses, Rubber Stamps. It says, let your life lightly dance on the edge of time like dew on the tips of leaves. So look how quick we did that page. We did that page in 35 minutes. Actually, probably 30 minutes because I talked for the first few minutes. You know, but I could go in and put a flower in her hair. Maybe. She's a little big, but I think I'm going to do it anyways. Just why not? So I'm going to ink it up with Indian ink. And I am going off the page. There we go. And then I can go in. Again, I'm going to use my PanPastels to show you how nice these little tools are. And we're going to make her, since her hair is, let's go with this really bright pink over here. Okay, I'm going to use this really bright pink right here. And the exact color of that is magenta. And use that to go in and color my, it might be a little too close to her hair, but that's okay. Now see, because I have this nice little tool, I can get into the little fine spots with the tool. So you can get into it really tight if you want. And because they're kind of translucent also, you see I didn't lose the ink at all. And since I have the yellow out right here, I'm just going to grab it to do the center of the flower. Oh, I also want to do her eyeballs. This is one of the reasons that I bought this white tip pencil, is to do eyeballs, because it allows me to go in there and do that little white dot that's in eyeballs. Oh. Now see, I just got chalk on her face. So I can go in with, get that out of there. That's from my hands being in the way. Okay, I'm pretty happy with that. Is there any questions? Can you tell me the name of the stamp again? The name of the stamp, I believe, was Blossom Girl, and it's at Stampotique. No, Stampendous, sorry, stampendous.com. When does spray off upside down and a bit? When does spraying
Terry,
off?
Susie's saying to clean the nozzle of any spray, hold it upside down and spray till it comes out clear. And she wanted to be sure you saw that tip.
Yes, that is a great tip. Thank you for that tip. I actually did know that one, and I just don't preach it enough. I think I want to, I don't like my leaf down here, so let me fix that real quick.
And also, just to remind folks that it's really, really hard for Terry to see the comments while she's working. That's why I try to answer them as best I can. But she does review them all later in the night and the next day. And again, all the links will be on her blog, on Facebook, and they're also in the comments if you scroll back in the comments.
That is true. I do go back the next day and I read everybody, or either tonight or the next day, depending on how tired I am. And read all the comments in case I missed something. So yes, Susan, I did see your comment. Thank you very much. That is a great tip. And of course,
Terry and I have to hang out a bit afterwards and discuss some of these comments too. So.
I'm not supposed to tell them that part. I'm going to real quickly just do her eyebrows. There we go. Make them look a little more natural.
For me, since my whole family is Italian off the boat, you'd probably have to connect them in the middle.
Those unibrows? Okay.
Bad but true.
I'm actually happy with that. I'm going to leave it just like that. Again, when I get off air, I will go outside and spray that. Do spray, even if you have a low odor one, outside. Do not do this in your studios unless you have every window open and a fan on. The stuff will kill you.
And if you do it inside, you really want to put your piece inside a box to capture that overspray, because there's no way you're going to keep it on that rectangular shape.
Isn't that the truth too? So definitely take it outside and spray. And I'm going to, I want to get this spot right up here. I just seen up by her head. There's no color back there. So let me just put that color in there a little. And there we go. Now I'm really happy.
And you know, what you've done tonight, I'm much more of a lumpy, bumpy kind of person in the stuff I make. But the center of that flower would look great with glitter or frills, and around her neck you could really put a piece of old jewelry that you got at a thrift store. And I mean, you can take a lot of this stuff and really turn it into assemblage. But
yes,
in an art journal, it's going to make your journal a little lumpy, bumpy.
Exactly. That's why I don't do that type of stuff in an art journal, but he is absolutely right. Can you imagine this exact same technique we just did on a canvas, but with some dimension to it? So remember, I've told you guys this many times. This is the reason I do art journals, is I can do them in an hour or less. But all of these techniques, like I've showed earlier today, can be brought back into canvases or paintings. This one is all PanPastels. This one is acrylic and soft pastels. And this one, which is what we're going to kind of focus on next week. We're not going to do the owl, though, guys. Don't get excited. That took me hours to do. We're going to do a technique that's similar to it, where we're going to use acrylics, soft pastels, and we're going to use charcoal. So make sure you buy yourself some charcoal. This is actually a powder. See that? So get yourself some charcoal. You'll need charcoal. You'll need a kneading eraser and some pastels. So this could be a lot of fun. Okay, I am going to switch back cameras. Okay, also next week I have one pastel to give away. So I'm going to give away that next week. So put your projects that you are inspired by my pastel project on my group called All Things Terry Sproul on Facebook. And I will pick a winner next week and send them a pastel.
Winner, chicken dinner. You never pick me.
It's because you never post anything. That's why. So
I don't have time. I'm busy looking up all your links.
Oh, you poor thing. Hey, everybody else finds time, so we're going to do that. We're going to do this next week. So that's what we're going to learn how to do. I love my owl too. Thank you. Pretty damn proud of it. This is my very first ever animal acrylic, which is not great, but it's not bad. And that's my second ever acrylic.
Now, what are you going to do with it, Terry?
I'm going to frame this one. I love this one.
And you're going to send it to Ohio? I can't believe it.
Yes. Well, you never know. I was thinking maybe to your boyfriend for his birthday.
Oh, he is not worthy.
It's not worthy. Okay, guys, if you don't have any more questions, I want to thank so many for showing up here tonight. I can't believe we had almost 50 people in the room. How exciting! Thank you very much. I'm very honored. And give me a thumbs up on YouTube. Share with your friends. See me again next Tuesday night, where I'm going to show you how to use that charcoal. Thanks,
Will you
guys.
have purple hair by next Tuesday night?
I might. It's a maybe. We'll see. I could be going and get my hair dyed purple on Friday. I don't know yet. I'm scared to death.
What's the hubby say? What's the hubby say?
Actually, hubby's okay with it. He's actually okay with it, which is kind of surprising. If you knew my husband, that is very surprising to me. So, So I'm excited. I'm going to go for it. So, okay. Thanks, guys. Bye.